The stars above Earth had always seemed endless, bright pinpricks in the night sky. For humanity, they had been objects of wonder, mystery, and sometimes fear. But now those distant lights carried a new meaning. The galaxy had watched Earth for decades. And finally it had decided humanity would be exiled. In a massive, shimmering hall somewhere beyond known space, representatives of countless civilizations had gathered. Their bodies were diverse beyond imagination, some translucent, some armored, some floating without visible limbs, but all shared one thing: authority. They had the power to decide the fate of entire worlds. And on this day, the Council's eyes turned to a single planet, Earth. Back on Earth, the world's leaders gathered in emergency sessions. Aaron, a young diplomat known for his calm mind and sharp intellect, stood at the front of the room in the United Nations Hall. His voice, usually steady and confident, trembled slightly as he addressed the assembly. "We have received a message from the Galactic Council," he said, letting the words sink in. "They have voted on Earth's place in the interstellar community. The decision is exile." A heavy silence fell. The word exile echoed like a hammer striking metal. Journalists scrambled to record, live feeds glitched under the weight of global panic, and millions of ordinary citizens froze in their homes. People whispered in fear, disbelief, and anger. How could a species like theirs, humans, so small and fragile in the cosmic scale, be judged by aliens they barely understood? Dr. Layla, a scientist whose work in propulsion and space exploration had earned international fame, leaned forward in her chair. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with determination. "Exile does not mean the end," she said quietly, though everyone could hear. "It means they think we are dangerous. But maybe they are wrong." Aaron nodded. "Dr. Layla is right. We can choose to fight back, or we can choose to prove ourselves worthy. But either way, we cannot accept this as the end of humanity. Not now, not ever." Outside the meeting halls, people reacted in different ways. Some panicked, hoarding supplies and fleeing to the countryside. Others protested in city streets, holding signs that read, "We are human, we are not alone." And yet, a quiet hope began to grow. If the galaxy doubted them, perhaps it was time for humans to show what they could do when given no choice but to act. In the months that followed, Earth changed. Governments united like never before, sharing knowledge, technology, and resources. Dr. Layla led a team of scientists and engineers to develop new spacecraft, faster and more durable than anything before. Captain Joren, a decorated military officer, trained crews not for war but for survival and exploration. Every ship built, every experiment conducted was a statement. Humanity would not vanish quietly. Aaron worked tirelessly on diplomacy, preparing for a future where humans might one day meet other species on their own terms. He studied alien languages, cultures, and histories, piecing together what humanity could learn and how it could communicate without causing offense or sparking war. But the Council's shadow remained over Earth. Many feared that one day, the exiled humans might be attacked, their planets destroyed, their civilization crushed. This fear, however, only seemed to sharpen the human spirit. Where other species might have submitted or hidden, humans innovated. They built habitats that could survive harsh planets, engines that could bend known physics, and machines that could think for themselves in the void of space. At a central hub near the Pacific Ocean, where the first interstellar fleet was being assembled, Captain Joren walked among the ships. They were sleek, silver vessels, built not for conquest but for endurance. Crew members ran through drills, testing every system, every maneuver. "Remember," Joren said, addressing the assembled pilots and engineers, "we are not just leaving Earth. We are proving that humanity can survive anywhere, thrive anywhere, and be proud of who we are. The galaxy may doubt us, but we will show them the truth." In the background, a massive holographic screen displayed Earth's status, cities, populations, resources, and progress reports. Humanity's pulse beat across the planets in numbers, data, and light. And yet, beyond the numbers, beyond the calculations, something more powerful was growing. A sense of unity, a belief that no matter what the universe threw at them, humans would stand together. Not all reactions were positive. Some factions wanted to retaliate against the Council, planning secret strikes against alien territories. Others wanted to surrender, fearing the galaxy's wrath. But the majority found a middle path: independence. Humanity would no longer wait for approval or fear judgment. It would create its own destiny. One evening, Aaron sat in his office, staring at the stars projected on a digital map. He thought of the Council, the exiling vote, and the messages that had been sent. And yet, he did not feel fear. He felt determination. If humans were being forced into exile, then exile would be their strength. They would explore, innovate, and connect with worlds beyond the Council's reach. They would redefine what it meant to be human. Dr. Layla joined him, holding a tablet, filled with star charts and ship designs. "We can do this," she said. "We can go where no one has gone before, and we can make it work. The Council may think we are reckless, but humans are creative, adaptive, persistent." Aaron smiled. "Exactly. They don't understand us. They never will. But that's fine. Maybe it's better this way. Maybe the galaxy needs to see humans on their own terms, not theirs." Meanwhile, ordinary people began to play a crucial role. Engineers, students, farmers, and artists contributed to a shared effort. Farms were redesigned for efficiency, energy grids were upgraded for long-term sustainability, and communication networks were strengthened for a planet-wide collaboration. Humanity became a single organism, working not for one nation or one leader, but for survival, growth, and pride. Even as the exiling judgment loomed, the planet buzzed with life and activity. Children stared at the stars not in fear, but in wonder. Teachers told stories of human courage and innovation. Communities built together, repaired together, and dreamed together. The Council's decision, meant to limit humanity, instead sparked a new era of human ambition. And then came the first signs of action beyond Earth. Small, unmanned probes, designed and built by humans, began leaving the solar system. Each carried cameras, sensors, and messages. We are human. We exist. We explore. These tiny vessels were humanity's first statement. Exile could not silence them. The galaxy would soon hear, not from fear, but from achievement. As the first probes vanished into the darkness, Captain Joran watched from the launch platform. "One step at a time," he said to himself. "This is just the beginning." Aaron, standing nearby, nodded. "The Council may have judged us, they may have exiled us, but we will show them what humanity can do when it chooses its own path." Above them, the stars continued to shine. They seemed brighter than before, as if the universe itself was waiting to see what humanity would do next. And for the first time in history, humans did not look to the galaxy for approval. They looked within themselves and found courage, ingenuity, and hope. This was only the start. The Council's decision, meant as punishment, had become a catalyst for something greater: the birth of a new era. Humanity would no longer be a follower among the stars. Humanity would be its own force, capable of creating a future that no vote, no judgment, and no exile could control. And so the people of Earth prepared. They built, they trained, they planned, they dreamed. The galaxy had made its choice, but humanity had made its own. And soon the universe would see what it meant to underestimate a species that refused to bow. The exile from the Galactic Council weighed heavily on the minds of humans, but it also lit a spark that no force in the universe could extinguish. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was the cradle of defiance, innovation, and determination. Humanity understood one thing clearly. They could no longer wait for others to judge them. They had to act on their own, to forge a path where none had dared to walk. At the heart of this effort was Dr. Layla. Her laboratory, located in a sprawling facility beneath the deserts of North Africa, buzzed with activity day and night. Engineers, scientists, and programmers worked tirelessly. designing propulsion systems that could take humans to the stars faster than any alien species had thought possible. Dr. Layla reviewed the designs with meticulous care, her eyes bright with determination. "This engine will allow us to reach the nearest star systems in months, not decades," she explained to her team. "It is not just about speed. It is about survival. If the galaxy doubts us, we will prove our worth through action." Meanwhile, Captain Joren trained a new generation of explorers and pilots. Young men and women from every corner of Earth gathered at the newly constructed Space Academy, learning not just to navigate spacecraft, but to live in the harsh environments of other planets. They studied alien ecosystems, mastered survival techniques, and practiced team coordination until every movement became instinct. "Your mission is not conquest," Joren reminded them during one drill. "It is survival, understanding, and discovery. You are humanity's ambassadors. Remember, our strength comes from unity and creativity, not fear." The political landscape of Earth had shifted as well. Governments set aside old rivalries, pooling resources and knowledge into a single global effort. New cities rose near launch centers, equipped with laboratories, manufacturing plants, and training facilities. Scientists collaborated with engineers, and artists worked alongside strategists to create communication systems that could reach far beyond Earth. The planet itself became a workshop for the future. Aaron worked tirelessly to prepare humanity for the first contact outside the Exile zone. He studied alien languages and culture, deciphering long-forgotten patterns of diplomacy. His goal was simple. If humans were to meet other species without the Council's interference, they had to do so with confidence and respect. But building a path for humanity was not without challenges. Supply shortages, political disagreements, and technical failures tested everyone's patience. Early prototypes of spacecraft malfunctioned, habitats collapsed under stress tests, and power grids struggled to support the massive technological demands. Many nights Dr. Layla stayed in her lab, refusing to sleep, pushing her team to innovate faster. "We cannot fail," she said during one late-night meeting. "Every delay could cost us lives, every error could weaken our path. But failure is also our teacher. Every problem we solve makes us stronger, smarter, and more human." Despite these difficulties, humanity began to make progress. The first long-range ships were completed, gleaming vessels designed to survive in the vacuum of space and to support life for months or even years. Each ship was equipped with modular habitats, advanced life support, and research labs. Scientists could study alien planets directly, gather data, and communicate with Earth in real time. The first group of ships, called the Vanguard Fleet, was a symbol of humanity's resolve. Captain Joren inspected each vessel personally, walking through corridors where young recruits adjusted instruments and ran simulations. "These ships are more than metal and circuits," he said. "They are a statement, a declaration that humanity will not bow, that we will explore, and that we will thrive." Aaron and Dr. Layla worked alongside Joren to ensure the fleet was prepared not only for technical challenges but for the human element. They trained crews in problem-solving, ethical decision-making, and cultural awareness, understanding that encountering alien species would require more than just technology. Humanity had to show that it could be wise, responsible, and cooperative. The first missions were carefully planned. Nearby star systems, previously studied through telescopes, were chosen as destinations. The goal was not conquest, but knowledge. Humans would learn about alien life, ecosystems, and resources. They would test the limits of their ships and crews, and most importantly, they would prove that Earth could survive without the Council's guidance. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens found ways to contribute. Farmers developed vertical agriculture systems to feed growing space programs. Engineers designed energy-efficient cities to conserve resources. Teachers educated students in mathematics, physics, and interstellar science, ensuring that the next generation would be ready to continue humanity's path. Every citizen in some way became part of the grand mission. As the first ships prepared for launch, Aaron addressed the world through a global communication network. "The Council has exiled us," he said, his voice steady and calm. "But We are not defeated, we are not weak. We are human and we choose our own path. Today we take the first step into the galaxy on our own terms. We explore, we learn, and we survive. And in doing so, we prove that no judgment can define who we are. The launch day arrived. Cities around the world watched as the Vanguard fleet lifted from Earth's surface. Rockets soared into the sky, leaving trails of light and smoke. Humanity cheered, tears and smiles mixing in a shared moment of triumph. The first human-made vessels to leave the Exile zone carried not just technology, but the hopes and dreams of every person on Earth. Once in space, the crews faced new challenges immediately. Asteroids, radiation belts, and micrometeorites tested their ship's durability. Life support systems required constant monitoring. Every problem, no matter how small, demanded ingenuity and teamwork. Yet the human crews adapted. They repaired, recalibrated, and innovated, proving that persistence and intelligence could overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Communication with Earth became a lifeline. Scientists on the ground analyzed data, offering solutions in real time. Families sent messages of encouragement. Every success in space became a symbol of what humanity could achieve when united, creative, and determined. Months passed. The Vanguard fleet reached its first star system. Alien planets orbited distant suns, each one a puzzle waiting to be solved. The crews collected samples, studied ecosystems, and mapped potential colonies. They faced strange weather patterns, alien vegetation, and unknown minerals. Yet each discovery reinforced one truth: humans could survive anywhere if they used their minds, hearts, and courage. Back on Earth, news of the fleet's successes inspired further innovation. Other starships were constructed, more ambitious and advanced than the first. Universities established interstellar research programs. Cities invested in energy, robotics, and artificial intelligence. Humanity was no longer just responding to exile. They were building a future on their own terms. The Galactic Council, watching from afar, could not ignore what was happening. Exile had not weakened humans. It had strengthened them. Every ship launched, every colony planned, every scientific breakthrough was proof that the Council had underestimated Earth's inhabitants. And soon, other species in nearby systems began to take notice. Aaron, observing the progress from Earth, felt a quiet sense of pride. Humanity was learning, growing, and proving its worth without interference. "We are not bound by their judgment," he said softly to Dr. Layla. "We are bound only by our own courage and vision." Dr. Layla smiled, her hands full of star charts and ship designs. "And that is exactly why humans will survive. We create, we adapt, and we explore. Exile may have been meant as punishment, but it has given us freedom." Captain Joran, reviewing. Reports from the fleet nodded in agreement. "Freedom comes with responsibility," he said. "We must continue to be careful, to act wisely, and to show that humanity can be trusted in the galaxy. But so far, we are proving that nothing can stop us when we work together." As the sun set on Earth, casting golden light over cities, oceans, and deserts, people looked up at the stars with renewed wonder. They had been judged, they had been exiled, but they had chosen their own path. The journey ahead would be difficult, filled with unknown dangers and challenges, but humanity was ready. The first steps had been taken. The first ships had sailed into the darkness of space. The first human colonies would soon follow. And with every achievement, humanity proved one simple truth: when a species refuses to bow, when it chooses courage over fear, it can carve a path where none existed before. Exile was no longer a punishment, it was an opportunity. And humanity, united in purpose, was ready to seize it. The Vanguard fleet had traveled farther than any human had ever imagined. Stars that had once been distant pinpricks now glimmered up close, casting pale light across sleek, silver hulls. Humanity had left the exile zone behind, venturing into the unknown. Every system they entered carried new possibilities, new challenges, and the promise of understanding life beyond Earth. Captain Joran stood on the bridge of the horizon, the flagship of the fleet. His eyes scanned the array of sensors and monitors. Crew members moved with quiet precision, adjusting navigation systems, checking communications, and monitoring life support. "We're approaching the first uncharted system," Joran announced. His voice was calm but carried the weight of history. "Keep sensors active, scan for planets with atmosphere and signs of life. Remember, observation first, interference second. We are explorers, not conquerors." Dr. Layla, aboard the Pioneer, reviewed data from telescopes and probes. Her fingers flew across the controls as she analyzed atmospheric compositions, surface temperatures, and magnetic fields. "There's a planet with breathable air," she reported. "Temperature is moderate, water in liquid form. Signals indicate simple life forms, possibly intelligent species nearby." Aaron, the diplomat, adjusted his headset, preparing for an encounter humanity had never experienced before. "We must be careful," he said. "This is their world, not ours. Our actions will set the tone for everything that follows. We must show respect, wisdom, and the best of humanity." The fleet descended into orbit around the planet, which gleamed like a green and blue jewel against the black sky. From orbit, they could see sprawling forests, vast oceans, and cities filled with structures unlike anything humans had seen before. The alien architecture was elegant, combining organic curves with crystalline towers, and glowing energy networks threaded across the cities like veins of light. Joran ordered the fleet to remain in orbit, sending probes to study the planet's surface before any direct contact. The probes transmitted images and signals that revealed movement in the cities, beings with 6 limbs, shimmering skin, and eyes that reflected multiple colors of the spectrum. They seemed intelligent and organized, but cautious. Aaron reviewed the transmissions with fascination. "They are aware of us," he said. "They are observing. We must respond carefully. Any aggressive action could be seen as a threat." Dr. Layla smiled, excitement in her eyes. "And that's exactly why humans are ready. We are curious, careful, and capable of learning. This is what the Council never expected. We are not reckless. We are adaptive." After days of careful observation and study, Aaron and Joran decided it was time to make contact. A single small craft, piloted by humans trained in diplomacy and survival, descended to a neutral zone outside the main city. They brought gifts, tools, samples of Earth's natural resources, and a simple communication device designed to translate basic concepts. The aliens approached cautiously. Their bodies shimmered under the sunlight, and their movements were precise, almost graceful. Their leader, taller than the rest with multiple glowing eyes, extended what appeared to be a limb in a gesture of peace. Aaron mirrored the gesture. "Greetings," Aaron said through the translator. "We are humans. We come in peace. We seek to learn, not to conquer." The alien leader paused, tilting its head, as if trying to comprehend the words. Then slowly, it nodded. Communication was established. The aliens, called the Scifi, had their own language, culture, and values, but they were willing to listen. Over the next several weeks, humans and Scifi exchanged knowledge. Aaron facilitated conversations, learning about the Scifi's history, their cities, their approach to science and art. Humans shared Earth's achievements, its struggles, and its dreams. The Scifi were particularly impressed with humans' ability to adapt to extreme environments, survive disasters, and cooperate across diverse cultures. Captain Joran worked closely with Scifi engineers to explore shared technologies. Humans showed modular habitat designs and propulsion systems, while the Scifi demonstrated energy networks and ecological management. Both species learned, adapted, and respected each other's methods. Even the crew members of the Vanguard fleet found opportunities to connect with Scifi youth. They exchanged games, stories, and techniques for survival. Differences in biology and culture created moments of confusion and humor, but also friendship. Children from both worlds laughed together, fascinated by each other's worlds. Meanwhile, Back on Earth, news of successful contact spread rapidly. Humanity's story became a symbol of courage and innovation. People realized that Exile had forced humans to grow faster, think deeper, and act more wisely. The galaxy, which had once feared Earth's unpredictability, began to see humanity as something else entirely, resilient, creative, and morally responsible. Despite the successes, challenges remained. Not every encounter was smooth. Some Scifi were suspicious and subtle misunderstandings caused tension. Technical failures in translation devices led to miscommunications, and certain human behaviors, gestures, tones, or actions were misinterpreted as threats. Aaron and his team worked tirelessly to resolve every issue, emphasizing empathy, patience, and dialogue. Dr. Layla oversaw experiments on alien flora and minerals. Her findings astonished even her. Certain plants emitted energy in ways that could be harnessed for human technology. Minerals contained properties unknown on Earth. Each discovery was a step forward, not just for exploration, but for the survival and advancement of humanity itself. Captain Joran led the fleet in careful maneuvers around the planet, ensuring that their presence caused minimal disruption. He taught his crew that true strength came not from dominance but from restraint, strategy, and respect. "We do not occupy," he reminded them. "We observe, learn, and protect. That is the way humans will earn trust." As weeks turned into months, the relationship between humans and Scifi grew stronger. Mutual respect blossomed into a tentative alliance. Humans offered knowledge of other star systems, while the Scifi shared insights into advanced ecological management and energy sources. Together, they solved problems that neither could have managed alone. Aaron reflected on the irony of it all. Humanity had been exiled, judged as unpredictable and dangerous. Yet, in the isolation forced upon them, humans had achieved something remarkable. They had traveled beyond the known regions of space, encountered intelligent life, and formed meaningful connections. Exile had not weakened them, it had strengthened them. Dr. Layla joined him on the observation deck of the horizon, looking out at the vibrant alien cities. "The Council thought removing us would make us easier to control or less significant," she said, "but instead it gave us freedom. Freedom to learn, to innovate, and to prove ourselves. They cannot predict humans when we act on our own." Aaron nodded. "And that is the lesson of Exile. Humanity thrives not because it is allowed to, but because it chooses to. We are capable of more than fear or obedience. We are capable of courage, intelligence, and compassion." Back on Earth, preparations for additional fleets were underway. New ships, informed by lessons from the Scifi system, were being constructed with even better propulsion, improved life support, and advanced research capabilities. Humanity's ambition grew, not out of recklessness, but out of the desire to explore, understand, and connect. The first contact with the Scifi became a historic milestone. Human children learned about it in schools, artists painted it on murals, and scientists wrote papers describing the achievements. Humanity's reputation began to shift in the galaxy. The species that had been exiled was now demonstrating diplomacy, innovation, and ethical conduct that rivaled even the oldest civilizations. Yet, Aaron knew this was only the beginning. Beyond the Scifi system lay countless other civilizations, some curious, some suspicious, and some possibly hostile. Humanity had to continue to adapt, to learn, and to grow. The lessons learned here would guide them for generations to come. As the Vanguard fleet prepared to leave the Scifi system, Captain Joran addressed his crew. "Remember this moment," he said. "We have shown that humans can meet the unknown without fear, that we can act wisely, responsibly, and with honor. This is the future we choose, one of exploration, growth, and friendship across the stars." The ships lifted from the planet, leaving the Scifi system behind, carrying with them knowledge, hope, and a growing reputation. Humanity's path was becoming clearer. Independence, exploration, and the proof that even a species once exiled could rise to greatness. And as they traveled deeper into the galaxy, humanity understood one simple truth. The stars had judged them, the Council had exiled them, but their destiny was in their own hands. Exile was not the end. It was the beginning of humanity's journey among the stars. The galaxy was changing, and the Council had begun to take notice. Humanity, once exiled and considered unpredictable, had made remarkable progress. Reports of the Vanguard fleet's successful missions, the peaceful alliance with the Scifi, and the thriving colonies in distant systems spread across interstellar networks. Some Council members whispered among themselves, questioning whether their judgment had been too harsh. Others worried that humans, now free and innovative, could become a powerful and uncontainable force. On Earth, Aaron, Dr. Layla, and Captain Joran were gathered in the Central Operations Hub, reviewing the latest communications. A holographic projection flickered to life, showing a massive Council vessel approaching the edge of human-controlled space. Its design was imposing: sharp angles, metallic surfaces, and countless observation ports. This was no ordinary visit. The Council had sent emissaries. "They are coming," Aaron said, his voice steady but full of tension. "The Council wants to see us for themselves. They want to judge, test, or perhaps understand." Dr. Layla leaned over the console, analyzing the ship's systems. "They could be hostile, but I don't think so. They're curious. Humanity's success has forced them to reconsider. They want to see what we are capable of." Captain Joran nodded. "Then we show them the best of humanity. No fear, no arrogance, just competence, creativity, and respect. That is our strength." The Yizgam Council vessel entered orbit around Earth. From its hull, smaller ships detached and descended to human-controlled areas, landing in designated zones. The emissaries emerged, their forms both familiar and alien. Tall, armored beings stood alongside smaller, more translucent creatures. Their expressions were unreadable, but their eyes glimmered with curiosity and authority. Aaron stepped forward to greet them. "Welcome to Earth," he said. "We are humans. We have learned from our exile and chosen our own path. We hope to show you what humanity can achieve when it is free to act." The lead Council representative regarded him with multiple eyes, shifting colors and patterns that conveyed thought. "We have observed your actions," it said, the voice translated through a universal device. "Humans have exceeded our expectations. You have not only survived exile, but grown stronger, wiser, and more capable. We wish to witness your progress firsthand." Over the following weeks, the Council emissaries toured human installations. They observed the shipyards where new fleets were being constructed, the laboratories where cutting-edge research was conducted, and the colonies on distant planets thriving under human management. Every detail was scrutinized, every innovation noted. Captain Joran led demonstrations of human capability. Pilots executed complex maneuvers, navigated dangerous asteroid fields, and showcased teamwork that was seamless and precise. Humans repaired failing equipment in real time, adapted to unexpected challenges, and demonstrated decision-making under pressure. Each display reinforced a single truth: humans were resilient, resourceful, and remarkably coordinated. Dr. Layla presented scientific breakthroughs: energy systems harnessed from alien minerals, sustainable habitats designed for extreme conditions, and propulsion methods that pushed known physics. All were explained in detail. The Council emissaries listened, asked questions, and for the first time seemed genuinely impressed. Aaron led diplomatic exchanges. Humans explained their peaceful intentions, the lessons learned from exile, and their vision for cooperation with other species. They emphasized empathy, respect for life, and a desire to share knowledge rather than dominate. The Council representatives observed and evaluated every word, measuring not only technological skill but moral character. Despite the positive impressions, the Council remained cautious. "Humans are unpredictable," one emissary said privately to another. "They have creativity, courage, and intelligence, but can they be trusted on a galactic scale?" Aaron overheard part of the conversation and knew their judgment still lingered. He decided that humans must do more than talk. They must show tangible proof of responsibility. A plan was proposed, a joint mission with the Council emissaries to a recently discovered uninhabited star system. Humans would demonstrate their ability to explore, research, and manage challenges without risk to others. The fleet was assembled. Council observers joined human crews, monitoring operations closely. The mission began with routine exploration, scanning planets and mapping their orbits. However, soon unexpected challenges appeared. A meteor storm threatened the fleet, equipment malfunctioned, and a sudden energy fluctuation in one planet's magnetic field required immediate problem-solving. Captain Joren led the human crews with calm authority. Teams coordinated flawlessly, repairing damaged systems, navigating through the storm, and securing the fleet's safety. Council emissaries observed in amazement. Humans faced danger directly, adapted quickly, and relied on ingenuity rather than brute force. Dr. Layla discovered a unique mineral on one planet that could provide sustainable energy for decades. With Council scientists observing, she conducted experiments in real time, demonstrating precision, knowledge, and safety. The emissaries nodded, acknowledging the depth of human skill and responsibility. Meanwhile, Arian engaged with the Council representatives, explaining decisions and strategies. He emphasized that humans had learned from Exile. They understood limits, respected life, and sought solutions that benefited both themselves and others. "We are not reckless," he said. "We are deliberate. We are capable. We are responsible. That is why humanity thrives." As the joint mission progressed, a subtle shift occurred. Council representatives, once cautious, began to see humans as more than unpredictable exiles. They witnessed courage, collaboration, intelligence, and empathy. They realized that Exile had forced humans to develop qualities that no other species had achieved so quickly: adaptability, creativity under pressure, and moral discernment. After weeks of exploration, the fleet returned to Earth. The Council emissaries convened with human leaders. "We underestimated you," the lead emissary admitted. "Your species has grown stronger, wiser, and more capable than our judgment accounted for. Exile has made you exceptional." Aaron, Dr. Layla, and Captain Joren listened carefully, knowing this acknowledgement was only the beginning. "Thank you," Aaron said. "We did not act to prove you wrong, but to prove ourselves right. Humanity can choose its own path, and we choose to explore, to learn, and to cooperate responsibly with the galaxy." The Council emissaries left Earth, returning to their home systems. But their reports would ripple across the galaxy. Humans, once considered reckless and dangerous, had become a model of determination, creativity, and ethical conduct. Exile had not defeated them. It had strengthened them, forcing a species to rise beyond expectations. On Earth, celebrations erupted. Humanity had faced judgment, defiance, and scrutiny, yet emerged stronger. Children played in parks named after explorers, scientists, and leaders who had shaped the journey. Schools taught lessons about courage, ingenuity, and the responsibility that comes with freedom. Artists depicted the historic Council visits, illustrating humans standing tall, not in fear, but in dignity and determination. Captain Joren reflected on the journey. "We have shown strength not through force but through knowledge and unity. That is what makes humans exceptional. That is why we will thrive." Dr. Layla looked out at the stars, thinking of the vast possibilities ahead. "The Council's visit was a test," she said, "and we passed. But the galaxy is infinite. There are civilizations we have not yet met, challenges we cannot yet imagine. Our work has only just begun." Aaron smiled, seeing young cadets training nearby, new ships being built, and citizens collaborating across continents. "Then we continue," he said. "We continue to build, to explore, and to prove that humanity's path is its own. Exile was meant to limit us, but it has only made us stronger." Humanity had changed. The judgment of the Council had transformed into an opportunity to demonstrate courage, intelligence, and unity. Humans had turned exile into empowerment, proving that they could survive and thrive on their own terms. And as they looked toward the stars, they knew the future was theirs to define. The galaxy had watched, the Council had returned, and humanity had shown that its spirit, creativity, and resilience could not be contained by any judgment or decree. Exile had been the spark. Independence had become the fire, and the stars awaited the next chapter in humanity's extraordinary journey. The Council had returned to its home systems, but its eyes remained on Earth and humanity's expanding presence among the stars. Reports of human ingenuity, courage, and diplomacy spread like wildfire. Some civilizations were curious, some cautious, and others skeptical. But one question lingered above all. Would humanity return to the fold of the Galactic Council, or would it continue on its own path? On Earth, leaders, scientists, and explorers gathered to discuss the future. Aaron, Dr. Layla, and Captain Jaren stood together at the central hub, reviewing reports from the fleet, from colonies, and from the first encounters with alien species beyond the Sarathi system. The data was overwhelming, yet the message was clear. Humanity had proven itself capable. "We have built ships that can survive the harshest conditions," Dr. Layla said. "We have established peaceful relations with intelligent species. We have thrived without oversight. We have freedom." Captain Joran crossed his arms, looking at the holographic maps of human colonies and fleet positions. "Freedom comes with responsibility," he said. "The Council may offer us membership again, but do we need them? We've learned we can survive and thrive on our own. We've earned respect without anyone granting it." Aaron paced slowly. "Returning to the Council might give us security and access to resources, but at what cost? They judge, they limit, and they decide what is acceptable. Independence allows humanity to define its own destiny. Meanwhile, across the colonies, ordinary humans debated the choice. Scientists argued for cooperation, citing access to advanced technologies and knowledge. Farmers and engineers emphasized self-reliance, pointing to Earth's own achievements and humanity's ability to adapt. Young explorers, fresh from first contact with distant species, argued for freedom and the opportunity to explore beyond Council restrictions. The discussions were intense, but they reflected humanity at its best, thoughtful, creative, and united by purpose rather than fear. The decision would not be made by a single person, nor by a single government. It would be made by the species itself. Aaron addressed a global assembly through the communication network. "Humanity has been judged, exiled, and tested. We have learned from it all. Today we decide not just how we survive, but how we live. We have a choice. Return to the Council under their rules or remain independent, charting our own path among the stars. Whatever we choose it together, wisely and responsibly." The vote was conducted not by governments alone, but by citizens, explorers, and leaders across Earth and the colonies. Every voice was counted, every opinion considered, and when the results were announced, the answer was clear. Humanity would remain independent. Cheers erupted across planets and space stations. People hugged, laughed, and cried. Children waved flags of Earth from colony windows, and scientists celebrated breakthroughs that would ensure survival for generations. Humanity had chosen freedom, not out of defiance but out of understanding, courage, and hope. Captain Joran looked at the fleets in orbit and smiled. "We've done it," he said. "We are free. Free to explore, to learn, and to grow. Free to be humanity at its best." Dr. Layla stood beside him, holding a tablet displaying new star systems mapped by human probes. "Independence is a challenge," she said, "but it is also an opportunity. We can design our future without restriction. We can learn from other civilizations while making our own rules. We can thrive." Aaron joined them, watching fleets prepare for new missions. "The Council may have judged us once," he said. "They may have doubted us, but now, humanity is no longer defined by their expectations. We are defined by our choices, our courage, and our spirit." The first independent missions were ambitious. Humans traveled beyond known systems, mapping planets, studying alien life, and establishing self-sufficient colonies. They carried advanced technology, sustainable habitats, and knowledge gained from both Earth and the Sarathi Alliance. Every mission tested human creativity, adaptability, and unity. Some species welcomed humans as partners. They were curious about Earth, impressed by human resilience, and eager to exchange knowledge. Others remained cautious, observing from a distance. But even their skepticism became an opportunity for humans to demonstrate patience, diplomacy, and ethics. Back on Earth, education and culture flourished. Children studied interstellar science, ethics, and exploration. Artists and writers created works celebrating human courage and discovery. Humanity had transformed not through external approval, but through internal choice. They had proven that even when judged, even when exiled, they could rise to greatness. The Galactic Council, though no longer directly involved, continued to watch. Reports of human independence and achievement circulated through their networks. Some council members were impressed, others uneasy. But one fact was undeniable. Humanity had become a model of self-reliance, innovation, and moral strength. Aaron, Dr. Layla, and Captain Joren met on the observation deck of a space station orbiting Earth. Below them, the planet gleamed with life, innovation, and hope. "We've done what few thought possible," Aaron said. "We've survived exile, proven ourselves to the galaxy, and chosen our own path. Humanity has changed," Captain Joren nodded, "and will continue to change. Every mission, every discovery, every connection with another species will teach us more. We are explorers. We are creators. We are human." Dr. Layla smiled, gazing at distant stars. "The galaxy is vast. There are civilizations we haven't met, challenges we haven't faced, and wonders we cannot yet imagine. But we are ready. We have learned that together, humans can adapt, innovate, and thrive anywhere." As the first independent fleets departed for new systems, humanity looked outward, not in fear but in hope. Each ship carried not only technology and supplies, but the spirit of a species that had refused to bow, that had chosen courage over submission, and creativity over despair. Colonies were established on distant planets, each one self-sufficient and resilient. Humans adapted to different climates, ecosystems, and challenges. They shared knowledge, solved problems together, and maintained a strong connection to Earth. Independence had not meant isolation. It had meant growth, responsibility, and the freedom to explore without limitation. In the following years, humanity continued to expand its presence in the galaxy. Every new discovery, every new alliance, and every successful mission strengthened the species' reputation. Humans were no longer seen as reckless or dangerous. They were seen as determined, innovative, and morally responsible. Even the children of Earth, born after the Council's exile, grew up understanding that their species had chosen freedom and made it work. They learned about courage, responsibility, and the power of collaboration. They looked to the stars not as distant lights, but as places where humanity could shape its own destiny. Aaron reflected on the journey that had begun with exile. "We were judged," he said. "We were forced to choose. And in choosing our own path, we discovered the best of humanity. We learned to work together, to innovate, and to explore. Exile was never a punishment. It was a lesson, and we have learned it well," Dr. Layla added. "Our path is not easy, and it will never be simple. The galaxy is full of mysteries and challenges. But humanity has proven it can meet any obstacle with intelligence, courage, and unity. That is why we will continue to thrive." Captain Joren looked at the fleet stretching into the distance. "This is just the beginning. Humanity will explore, further learn more, and prove again and again that no judgment, no exile, and no challenge can limit what we can achieve. We define ourselves, not others. That is the human way." And so, humanity continued its journey among the stars. Exiled from the Galactic Council, they had chosen independence, forged alliances, discovered new worlds, and demonstrated the power of courage, intelligence, and unity. The galaxy watched, sometimes in awe, sometimes in curiosity, as humanity carved its own destiny. They were explorers, innovators, and diplomats. They were a species that had faced judgment and turned it into opportunity. And above all, they were human, undaunted, resourceful, and endlessly determined. The stars, once distant and cold, now felt closer than ever. Humanity had not only survived exile, they had become a force of progress, hope, and inspiration. Their path was their own, and it stretched infinitely into the universe, full of possibilities, discoveries, and triumphs yet to come. Humanity's choice had been made, and in making it, they had shown the galaxy what it truly meant to be human.